am here to tell you that 1 Billion Rising is the biggest global action ever on the planet towards ending violence against women and girls. Today, in 203 countries, 1 Billion Rising is dancing up the will of the world to end violence against women and girls once and for all. We've expanded our list beyond the list that the UN recognizes as countries. That is how large your response and the response of your brothers and sisters throughout the world has been to this call. Together, we will make it so that this issue is never marginalized again. San Francisco, you have been rising all day long, from Code Pink dancing across the Golden Gate Bridge this morning, Dollrum dancers who were just here now at Grace Cathedral, and thank you to Grace Cathedral for always welcoming us. El Rio tonight will be dancing all night long. What better place to rise than here at San Francisco's beautiful City Hall and to celebrate Valentine's Day on the steps with all of you, with Mayor Lee, Diego Gascon, Board President Chu, all of the elected officials and leaders, Julie Su, Emily Morassi, Marilee Mandahar, all of our women and anti-violence leaders who are here, who, as Fabiola said, are doing this work every day alongside all of you. VDAY thanks San Francisco for rising. San Francisco is a very special place to VDAY. As executive director, I now live here. It's a very special place to Eve Ensler, and she sends her love today from the Congo. I just spoke with her before we came on stage. I want to personally thank every single person in the mayor's office, in the DA's office, in the Department on the Commission of Status of Women, every single agency that works on this issue every day, from the bottom of my heart. And Eve sends her love and thank you as well. You have made this rising happen, and every single one of you have. On that note, I'd like to welcome Mayor Ed Lee. Thank you.
All right, how y'all doing? Well, Anita and I came together to join D.A. Gascon, the fabulous Fabiola. Isn't she fabulous? My gosh. Our board president, David Chu, and of course all the members of the Board of Supervisors are here. The Commission on the Status of Women, the Department on the Status of Women, Julie Su is our president, Marilee Mandahar and Susan Swan. Give them a big, big hand for organizing V-Day in San Francisco. We support the 1 Billion Rising because it empowers the rise of women, girls, and all the residents of San Francisco to take a stand against violence at our home, in our city, and throughout the world. And just think, if women were equally included in decision-making around the world, there would be no economic disaster throughout the world. So today, as part of dancing and part of celebrating, but the important message that we all stand united together to take the pledge to end violence against women and girls for good. So let's do this together. Are you ready for the pledge? Not yet? Oh, okay. All right, I just wanted to get you ready. We'll be back in a very short second for this pledge. I have to listen to the women on this stage.
You better, Mr. Mayor. San Francisco, are we ready? Are we rising? Let's show the world that San Francisco can be counted on. Just think about it for a moment. 1 out of every 3 women will be sexually abused or assaulted in their lifetime. That has to stop. And we here in San Francisco are going to show no tolerance for abuse against young girls and women. Are we ready? Are we rising? have to take a moment to thank some people. First of all, I want to thank my beautiful wife, who is just an incredible woman. She is the anchor in my life and someone that I appreciate so dearly. And I want to thank you so much for everything that you do and for your commitment to ending violence against women. I also want to thank Mayor Lee, because when he was approached with the idea of doing this, he immediately said yes. Thank you, Mayor Lee. And thank you to the Lee family. I want to thank the organizers who very early on came together and say, San Francisco will stand up and be counted. And I want to thank our Board of Supervisors. I want to thank people on my staff, specifically Rebecca Prozan, who, when I came up and I said, Rebecca, we have to help get this going, and she says, no problem. Where is Rebecca? Raise your hand. Give Rebecca a round of applause, people. Okay, I guess we're ready to move on. And the only thing I'm going to ask all of you is that when I dance, I'm going to dance salsa. Do not laugh, okay? Because I'm a horrible dancer. So let's go on with the program. David, I'm going to introduce the president of our board of supervisors, David Hsu. David.
Thank you. Do we have anyone here ready to be part of a revolution? Do we have anyone here ready to rise? Are we here to say no to violence against women and children? On behalf of the Board of Supervisors, I want to say Happy Valentine's Day, Happy V-Day, and thank you for being part of La Revolucion. Thank you for being part of our City of Love. In 1967, San Francisco started the City of Love. On 2004, on Valentine's Day, San Francisco stood up for love by showing that our LGBT couples should marry. And today, on Valentine's Day in 2013, we are saying it again. We are the city that shows that we know how to love, and saying that real love does not involve violence against women and against girls and against children. I want to also take a moment and give a shout out to all the men, the vagina-friendly warriors who are here standing with you, or a woman. Thank you for being here. And I want to take a moment, just a moment of reflection. 12 years ago, there was an immigrant woman named Claire Timpongo who was brutally murdered. And I want to thank those of you from the domestic violence community that came together 12 years ago to say to the policymakers, no, we must come together. Our work is not done. Let me tell you, the latest report shows that our domestic violence crisis hotlines over the past year, 47% more calls. Domestic violence shelters, 29% more bed nights required. Our district attorney has had to prosecute 88% more cases in the last 2 years. And I want to take a moment and thank my colleagues from the Board of Supervisors, because this week we agreed to put in over $500,000 more money into domestic violence work. Thank you, colleagues. In closing, this past month we celebrated the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King's I Had a Dream speech. And we know that we all here have a dream. Look around you today. We represent the diversity not just of San Francisco, but of the world. And we all have a dream that someday every woman and every child in this world will not have to worry about violence. We will take care of our children. And this is a dream we know that will come true if we all rise, not just 800,000 San Franciscans, but 1 billion citizens around the world. Thank you for being here.
Hello, San Francisco. I have a voice, so I am rising. My voice can save a life. Can your voice save a life? Imagine if each voice could save a life. We can't do it alone, but it is our entire city. We have so many innovative programs here in San Francisco. It takes the commitment of our mayor, our district attorney, all of law enforcement. Thank you to the Board of Supervisors for appropriating additional funds so that our partner agencies can serve all the women who need help in San Francisco. We've got to say stop. No more violence. No more assaults. No more rapes. Can I hear you shout out, yes, a revolution against violence against women? San Francisco reflects the world. We provide services in over 65 languages. Women are currently turned away because we don't have enough services, so thank you for the funding, Board of Supervisors. I'm proud to announce that San Francisco has also received funds from the federal government. President Barack Obama and the Department of Justice has recognized the great efforts that San Francisco has started and wants us to continue so we can eradicate violence here in San Francisco and start a global movement. Everyone here is touched by domestic violence. If you say you don't know, it may be your coworker. It could be your sister who doesn't want to speak out. It could be your mother, your grandmother. I do this in memory of a fellow coworker, a fellow public sector attorney, Laura Sweat, who was murdered by her husband. And in that moment, 2 young children were left without a mother. I do this in her memory. I do this in hope that her children will no longer see any more violence. I do this in the hope that the world will see no more violence. Thank you for joining 1 Billion Rising. You have the power to save lives.
Thank you, Julie Su, the president of the Commission on the Status of Women. Are there vaginas around? Are there pookies here? My name is Marilee Mondahar, and I am the president of the Filipino Women's Network, one of the organizers of this event tonight. And I am a survivor of domestic violence. I rise tonight because when I was 22 years old, I did not know that I could leave my abusive marriage. I rise tonight because when I was 26 years old, I did not know that there were countless other women suffering like me. I rise tonight because I did not know that my children and I could have a life without fear and violence. I rise tonight because it took me many, many years with the help of community members before I was able to tell anyone about the violence and to ask for help. I rise tonight because tonight I know that what happened to me was not my fault. I demand tonight and every night that we as a community of loving and caring people speak up and extend help when we see or hear about violence against women and girls. I demand tonight and every night that we as a community of loud and strong activists will shout, enough, enough, stop the violence now. I demand tonight and every night that we as a community confront a problem as entrenched as violence against women with continuous and rigorous analysis of existing protocols, with creative thinking, and with courage to introduce new paradigms like what Eve Ensler and V-Day has done today with 1 Billion Rising worldwide, an action that has shifted our consciousness about violence against women and girls. I demand tonight and every night that as a community of mothers and fathers, aunts and uncles, grandmas and grandpas, sons and daughters, neighbors and friends, that we create true change and stand together with women and girls in San Francisco. And I dance tonight in the memory of Claire Joyce Temponco, a 28-year-old Filipino woman who was murdered in front of her 2 young children. I also dance tonight in memory of Teres Casco, who was brutally beaten to death by her husband, an Iraq War veteran, on her birthday because she wanted to leave her abusive marriage. I dance tonight in memory of Marisa Corpus, who was savagely stabbed to death by her husband after he completed his 52-week batterer intervention program. I also dance tonight for Nicole, who survived a gang rape by 4 U.S. Marines. So now I ask you to dance with me, to say no to domestic violence, to say no to rape and sexual crimes. No. To say no to human trafficking. And to dance tonight for every victim and survivor here in San Francisco. But most importantly, let us dance tonight for those who still need to find the courage to leave abusive relationships and seek help. And I will keep rising, and I hope you do, and I will keep demanding, and I will keep dancing until every woman and girl in San Francisco can live free of fear and violence. So say it with me, I rise. I. Thank you.
These are only so many cases. There's only a few cases of the many that exist in the world. 1 of 3 women in the world will be raped or abused. 1 billion women violated is an atrocity, but 1 billion women dancing is a revolution, and we have men here, so thank you. 1 billion rising is a global call to action, and 1 billion rising is a celebration. This is how we celebrate the help that all those women can receive from all of us. We can do something, and we can only do it together. Right now, I'm going to introduce Janice Mirichettini. She's a visionary, she's an activist, she's a leader, and she's a poet. She will read a poem from Eve Ensler. Eve Ensler started with this movement. She started collecting situations, experiences, and bad memories of so many women around the world, and she created the Vagina Monologues. And that led to this. So thank you so much, and I want to introduce Janice.
Thank you, Fabiola. Hey, you are beautiful. This is a beautiful, beautiful billion rising voices. 1 billion rising is more powerful than the thunder over the mountains or the unchained sea. Let our voices reach the bedrooms of San Francisco, the streets and the alleys for the homeless women and the poor. Let our voices reach the sex-trafficked brothels and the worlds of violated and murdered women and the women who continue to be endangered by war and by men who are haters. I am honored to have been invited to read my Shiro's poem, Eve Ensler, entitled Rising. This was written in Kerala for the women of India who lead the way. This could have been anywhere and was. Mexico City, Manila, Mumbai, Manhattan, nighttime men waiting like wolves, drooling for prey behind that single dimly painted door, paying nothing, a couple of dollars or euros, rupees or pesos, to have her, enter her, eat her, devour her, and throw away her bones. This could have been anywhere and was. A Buddhist nun on a bus trying to stay dry for the night. A woman leader speaking out against the repressive government. A young woman traveling with her boyfriend. One lost her voice, the other her following, the last one her life. This could have been anywhere and was. Pink wooden crosses, a stack of stones, red wilting carnations, empty chairs in a square, ribbons flying in a sultry wind. I ask Anna, Nihat, Kamla, Monique, Tanisha, Emily, why? Why? ¿Por qué eran mujeres? Parce qu'elles étaient des femmes. Because they were women. Because they were women. This could have been anywhere and was, where she got fired for being too beautiful, fined for drinking after she was raped, a serious offer to marry her rapist, got told it was legitimate but not forcible. This could have been anywhere. They could do such a thing when the girls go for firewood, step into a lonely man's car, drink a little too much at the college party, wake up with her uncle's finger inside, run from the screaming machete and guns, be taken at sunrise, get a bullet in the brain for learning the alphabet, be stoned for falling in love, be burned for seeing the future. I am done cataloging these horrors. Data porn, 2 million women raped and tortured, 1 out of 3 women. A woman raped every minute, every second, 1 out of 2, 1 out of 5, the same, 1. I am done counting and recounting. It is time to tell a new story. It needs to be our story. It needs to be outrageous and unexpected. It needs to lose control in the middle. It needs to be sexy and in our hips and our feet. It needs to be angry and a little scary, the way storms can be scary. It needs not to ask permission or to get permits or to set up offices or to make salaries. It won't be recorded or bought or sold or counted. It needs to just happen. It is not a question of inventing, but remembering. Buried under the leaves of trauma and sorrow, beneath the river of semen and squalor, vaginas and labias, shredded and extracted, stolen, body minds, mind bodies. It is not about asking now or waiting. It's about rising. Raise your arm, my sister, my brother. Raise your 1 billion, your 1 heart, your one of us. I used to be afraid of love. It hurt too much. What never happened, what got ripped away, the rape, the wound, and love. I thought it was salt. But I was wrong. I was wrong. Step into the fire. Raise your arm. Raise your 1 billion. 1. Rising. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dennis. This is only one more story, one of many millions that happen every day. And I bet that each one of us know an example, a real experience like this. So we can stop that. And we are here because of Susan B. Anthony. She had a dream as well. 1 billion rising. San Francisco is closing this worldwide event. And we're going to do it dancing. But right now, I would love to bring back to the stage here, to the microphone, Mayor Edley for the pledge. We have to get committed.
Are we ready for the pledge? Yes. If I can ask all of you, raise the hand with the 1 billion and repeat after me. I am one of the 1 billion rising. And I pledge that today, February 14, 2013, I will will make violence against women and girls a priority of our time. And help to end it in my family. My school. My workplace. My community. And in San Francisco, California, and beyond. 1 billion rising! 1 billion rising! Thank you all very much. If you can, now turn to the person next to you and tell them out loud your personal pledge.
So you want to dance? I didn't hear you. You want to dance? 1 billion rising. 1 billion rising. Let the world hear you. 1 billion rising. We're closing this moment. 1 billion rising. Let the music begin, and thank you so much for being here and joining us in this wonderful movement. A big favor of you. Some people will be dancing. This is an event for dancing. But some people will not and cannot dance. So would you be so kind to just open up a little bit this space for this San Francisco School of Taco, Japanese drum. More space to dance. Spread around the plaza. You can go all the